What is up, guys? It is Mike Man WBA here, your coach of the West Bromwich Altarias. We are back for week 4 of the TBF, the Terminus Battle Factory. We are here against Thorozak. He is one of the new coaches, a replacement for one of the guys that left. I believe he was the replacement for Kohanks, who had the randomised team. He has, of course, made quite a few changes to that. And he's got like a very cool kind of sun team based around Drought, Torkoal, and then the Solar Power Mega Houndoom and the Chlorophyll Venusaur. As you see, he brought all 3 of those against me this week. He also brought a Milotic, a Necrozma, and a Girder, which was a bit of a problem because I didn't expect him to bring the Girder, considering I have the likes of Mew, Salamence, and Gallade. But he did bring it, and we'll see how that works going on. We brought Choice Scarf, a Gallade. We brought the Assault Vest Stunfisk. We brought it this week. We brought Choice Scarf Salamence as well, so 2 Choice Scarfers this week. I just didn't know what else to put on them. And I was worried about a Zygarde, because Thorozak did have the potential of bringing that Zygarde 50%, and I wanted to make sure that I could outspeed that if it got a Dragon Dance up, or at least sort of he'd need a Dragon Dance to outspeed me. We've brought, I believe, just leftovers Mew. We've also got Life Orb Galvantula, and actually no, sorry, I believe it's Colberberry Mew or Mental Herb. No, it was Mental Herb Mew because he had a Lipard. Thorozak had Lipard. Colberberry was last week. It's Mental Herb Mew. We've got Life Orb Galvantula, and we've got leftovers Silvally Ghost. So let's get straight in and we'll switch sides. He leads off with his Torkoal. I lead off with Silvally, so I didn't really know what to lead off with. I switch into the Stunfisk here as he switches into Milotic. And now I know that because it was in the sun, and because Stunfisk's got such high special defense, especially with that Assault Vest, that even if he had Hydro Pump, that wasn't going to do anything. Turns out he has Ice Beam as well for the Stunfisk and for the Salamence. I would assume mainly for the Salamence. But he goes for the Ice Beam here. Only does 22%. We go for a Discharge. Do a nice 37%, get the Paralysis as well on the first turn, which is very fortunate for us. Now I switch into the Mew, as he switches into Girder, and I go for the Stealth Rock, as he switches to Necrozma, not wanting to take a Psyshock, obviously. Don't actually have it on this Mew, because I wasn't expecting the Girder to come. I've got Stealth Rock, Stealth Rock, Roost, Aura Sphere, and Ice Beam. As he goes for actually a Swords Dance on his Necrozma, which is a bit scary. Going here for the Continental Crush, but not quite taking out our Mew. So we just roost up here. Luckily, that Continental Crush only doing 95%, and he missed here with the Stone Edge, which was unfortunate. I don't think it would have killed unless he got a crit. But it was still, yeah, so we would have lived unless he crit, but it was still fortunate. So I roost up here, and he makes a bit of a misplay here, going for the Swords Dance. So I go for the Ice Beam, and get quite a decent roll there, picking up the KO on his Necrozma. That would have been scary, potentially, if we hadn't have finished it there. So here, I know Mew's got decent special defense. I knew he probably wanted to set up his Stealth Rocks, so I'm just going for Aura Spheres here, because he actually goes for the Rapid Spin as well. Switches into Milotic here, as I just go for the Stealth Rock again, because I knew if you wanted to Rapid Spin, you could Rapid Spin all day, because I still had the chance to knock it out whenever I wanted. Milotic comes in, so I switch into the Silvally and go for the Defog, which is kind of why it's here. He goes for Toxic, unfortunately. I believe I just go for the multi-attack here. Yeah, so that's Ghost type multi-attack just to get a bit of damage. Also reveals, I thought, that this was a defensive, full defense, full special defense Milotic, which is what I will play around for the next couple of turns until I realised that I did paralyse it, so it of course gets that Marvel scale boost to its defense. Here he just goes for a recover as I switch into Galvantula, and then switches into Houndoom on my Thunder, which unfortunately misses because that would have done a lot of damage. But I did remember straight afterwards that Thunder in the Sun is only 50% accurate. I believe that had the possibility to KO Houndoom, Thunder did, or it was definitely a KO if it was fortunate enough to hit. But that was the one of the turns this game where our luck didn't hold up, but a lot of the time it does, as you'll see in a bit. So he just goes for the flamethrower here, and of course I am not Focus Sash, I was Life Orb, so he survives here with no sticky webs on my part. I probably played poorly around the Galvantula. I could have switched into Stunfisk on what's it called, on Houndoom, but because I didn't have any recovery on it, and because I didn't have a Wish Passer this week, I tried to limit the damage on Stunfisk as much as I could. So he switches out here his Houndoom Mega for the Venusaur as I go for an Earth Power. Does a nice amount of damage there actually, does Earth Power. So I switch into Mew here as he goes for the Leech Seed, which surprised me because Earth Power does a lot and Giga Drain was definitely his play there. But he goes into Torkoal here as I go for the Rocks. I was predicting him to switch out to try and get some HP. The Aura Sphere here, not going to do much as he switches back to the Mega Venusaur, and he is going to keep recovering with that Leech Seed. But he goes for the Giga Drain here as well, which did a fair amount. But I just go for the Roost, getting all our HP back. The only problem is his Venusaur is now back at full HP, and due to the Sun and the amount of HP it can gain back every turn, this Venusaur is starting to become a problem. He switches here into his Milotic as I go for multi-attack again. It doesn't do a massive amount of damage and he can just recover it, but it's a decent amount. And I switch here into Stunfisk, just saving the Silvally in case we need to do anything. But luckily we know that his Torkoal is only on 23%, so it's going to die as soon as it comes in. After this there will be no more Sun on Thorozak's side of the field, and he won't be able to rapid spin away those rocks, so we know they are here for the rest of the game. His Houndoom currently on full HP I believe, but obviously will have to take that Stealth Rock damage anytime he comes in. So here we just discharge on the Milotic. Unfortunately don't get the paralysis the second turn. He does get to recover, but I'm just going to sit here and hit discharge. I hope we can get lucky a couple of turns. We do there. Hopefully we get lucky this turn as well. And we do fortunately get lucky. We've been fortunate here because it stopped his Milotic from being able to discharge. Sorry, he stopped his Milotic from being able to Toxic our Stunfisk as we go for another discharge and get the paralysis on his Venusaur, and then the full paralysis as well. Earth Power here does a lot, brings his Venusaur very low. As we switch into Silvally Ghost, I expected the Leech Seed there, maybe, to force the Stunfisk out, but he goes for the Giga Drain, but doesn't obviously get much HP just because of the fact Silvally was so low. So I switch here into Mew, go for the Ice Beam on his Milotic switch, but he's very low now and paralyzed, so he's going to be slower than the Mew as I go for the Aura Sphere. And you see here that he switched in the Torkoal to die, and he thought it would have got the Sun up, but unfortunately the Sun doesn't come up if you die to hazards, So he then switches into his Mega Houndoom. I switch into Stunfisk because it takes nothing from this Mega Houndoom. And I believe I just go for an Earth Power. Yeah. Because Earth Power there was guaranteed to KO 3 of his mons, and it would have done a fair bit to the Girder as well. And now here, I kind of misplay a bit. I switch into Gallade on the Girder bulk up, but I completely forget that I don't actually have a psychic move on this Gallade. I didn't bring Zen Headbutt because I brought the Ice Punch, which would take out Venusaur and his Zygarde. And Girder was the only thing a psychic move would hit, and I was certain that this wasn't going to come, but it of course did. So I do go for the knockoff just to get rid of his Eviolite, make him a little bit less bulky. But he goes for the Drain Punch and does 49% despite that move being resisted. At +1, Girder still does a lot of damage. I switch out here back into Stunfisk. As he goes for the Drain Punch, it does unfortunately knock out Stunfisk, but Stunfisk does pick up the paralysis on the Girder with the static. So fairly good. I believe that was 1 kill for Stunfisk on 1 kill for Stunfisk on Milotic. We have 1 kill for Mew so far on Necrozma, and then technically we get a kill for Mew off the Stealth Rock, but I'm not sure if that counts as a kill for Mew in the kill leaders. But we're at the halfway point really in this game now, where his Girder is at full HP and starting to set up, but it is paralysed. His Houndoom, once he switches back in, will be at 50%, and his Venusaur is at around 30 to 40% once he switches in, but he does have a lot of recovery on the Venusaur, whereas our Mew is at 2/3, but doesn't really do much against this Girder, other than kind of stall it a little bit if it doesn't have like knockoff or anything like that. Our Salamence hasn't come in yet, that's completely fresh, and our Gallade is at 50%. So here I just go for the Roost, get us up to full HP as he goes for a Drain Punch and gets the crit, luckily for him, takes me down to half, so I just go for the Roost again. And he is paralysed, and here I had forgotten a little bit that Girder actually gets Guts, which was a mistake on my part. And here I go for the Roost again. Really, I should have just gone for Ice Beams and got the kill, but I wasn't thinking properly. And I realised there that I should just go for an Ice Beam. He goes for the Ice Punch and does get the freeze. Which, if he'd have got that a turn or two earlier, would have been a lot different to getting it there. Because here I can bring in Salamence, and now Salamence just finishes the game with Earthquake. I did get fortunate that when I did misplay, which I did a fair few times during this matchup, that I was saved by paralysis and stuff like that. We pick up the 2-0. Stunfisk really was the MVP in this matchup, getting some key paralysis and getting that KO on the Milotic. Salamence, of course, with the reverse, well, not the reverse, but the little late game sweep at the end, picking up another 3 kills. And Mew doing some good work as well, despite not having the best sets. Thorozak, probably understandably, was a little bit annoyed afterwards that I kind of relied so heavily on Stunfisk and like getting paralysis and stuff. And I do feel for him in that regard, but it's in the game and it's a strategy, and I knew that to win I was going to have to paralyse some mons, and that was what Stunfisk was kind of here for. Sort of a couple of paralysis, and also if you look, he brought 4 special attacking mons, Necrozma, which is usually special attacking but can be physical, and the Girder. And Stunfisk is just a great a great special wall, especially when you think that most of the time his Milotic was in the sun, which weakens its stab, water, super effective moves on the Stunfisk. So really, Stunfisk was doing fine against over half of his team, which is why I brought it. I feel like it's proven its worth here on my team. The fact that it did get a kill this week is very nice, and I got to bring it and actually do what I wanted with it, which was show that it can be quite a good special wall, as well as very handy in terms of paralysis and other status moves if you don't want to bring Assault Vest and you want to bring Toxic. I mean, it also gets Scold, which I didn't actually use in this matchup, but it does have Scold, which can obviously get the burn. But I'm fairly happy with how this week went. I could have played it a little bit better. Don't know if I mentioned it, actually, the Silvally Ghost wasn't actually here for like Necrozma or anything, or for the Girder. It was purely here to stop him from rapid spinning with a Torkoal, but didn't end up doing that in the end. But it still it was still useful. Took some hits when I needed it to. But that is this week out of the way. I'll quickly look at next week. So I should have got this ready. Every week I forget to get this ready. So week 4 out of the way. We are currently 3-1. We're 3-1 records so far. Next week, though, we face off against another new coach in Malone. I don't really know much about him or her. I'm assuming it's a him, to be honest. He has taken over the Paris Porygons, or he's become the Paris Porygons. I think he took over that team. And we have to come up against another Venusaur, because he has Mega Venusaur. He has an attacking Z, Garchomp, Cobalion, Vaporeon, Incineroar, Regice, Armaldo, Gengar, Super Z Xurkitree, which can be scary, Porygon 2, Granbull, and Kadabra. So that's a very, very good team we've got to face next week. Hopefully we can get another good result, because as I said, we are currently 3-1, which I believe 3-1 it's definitely a playoff position. I don't think it's top 2 yet, because I don't think our ratio will be massive. I think we've got around +5. We had a +2, a -3, so at -1. Then we got a +2 here, which was +1, and we got a 3-0 last week, was it? So yeah, 3-0. So we're at +4, I believe, in the rankings. Well, that's our +4 is our kill to death ratio, if you can call it that. So hopefully we're in a good position. Technically, Malone's team is 0-4 at the minute. I'll be honest, these standings haven't been properly updated. But his team does appear to be 0-4 at the minute, but only with a -4 differential. So this could be an interesting matchup. We'll have to see how it goes. Thank you guys for watching this week. I will see you soon. Well, probably next week for the next battle of the TBF. I know I haven't really been uploading anything else recently, but that was because honestly nothing has been happening. I had this week off and I was all prepped and hyped to get like 3 or 4 battles out of the way, maybe some other content. But then not only did I end up being kind of busy and unable to do any sort of different type of content, but also a lot of other leagues that I was in have dropped. So you know that I was in the ODL, but I haven't uploaded in that for a month. That is because it's dead. The ODL has died. we are not in that anymore. So kind of unfortunate, but that's what happens. ODL is no more. We do have the DGBA coming up fairly soon. There'll be a big announcement video for that coming up in the next couple of weeks. But one thing I will say right now is that we have 2 divisions now in the DGBA. We have Division 1 and Division 2. Division 1 is going to be made up of all the coaches from last season and a couple of returning coaches for ones that will replace ones that have dropped out. And Division 2 will be a lot of new guys. Some of them you might recognise, some of them you might not. But it's going to be very exciting, and the Division 2 draft will start on the 4th of June. So you'll probably get a video in the coming week that will explain what's happening. But I know I've tried to end this video once or twice already, but thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next week.